Star Network is.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network, a federal judge says Trump's Department of Justice has until 5 p.m. Tuesday to unseal documents related to the seizure of election ballots from Fulton County, Georgia. I'll talk with a Fulton County commissioner about that very issue. In North Carolina, a federal judge ruled against students' efforts to open early voting sites at 3 university campuses, including North Carolina A&T. Donald Trump got really triggered when a reporter tried to compare him to Joe Biden, not knowing about the actions taken in his name when it comes to the racist video that he posted. Ooh, it's a meltdown you don't want to miss. A white Montana pastor calls out white evangelicals for following the convict-in-chief. Ooh, y'all don't want to miss this. And Lord, white folk ain't been this mad since Obama wore a tan suit. Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show has MAGA really, really pissed off because he sang it all in Spanish. Just get a translator app. And of course, white nationalist Megyn Kelly just loses her white mind. Ohio Congressman Shontel Brown doesn't hold back when talking about the importance of celebrating Black history, while the Trump administration is doing all it can to erase it. Oh, it's lots we're going to talk about. And also, my high school, Jack Yates High School in Houston, celebrating 100 years. And so, there's lots to deal with. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
A federal judge says all records related to the FBI seizure of Fulton County, Georgia's ballots during the 2020 presidential election must be unsealed by Tuesday. Trump-appointed Judge J.P. Boulay of the Northern District of Georgia granted the motion filed last week by Fulton County Chair Rob Pitts and Fulton County Board of Registration and Elections. The FBI executed a search warrant on January 28th at the Fulton County Elections Hub and Operations Center in Union City. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard's appearance during the raid has raised serious questions about the legality of the search. An FBI spokesperson said the search involved about 25 agency personnel and resulted in the seizures of more than 600 boxes of records tied to the 2020 election. Fulton County Commissioner Marvin Arrington Jr. joins us. Commissioner Arrington, is your thoughts on what what the judge has now ruled?
Well, thank you, Roland, for having me. Very excited that the judge has unsealed these records and opened up the docket, right? I mean, this is of grave importance. There are allegations that the integrity of the election was compromised, right? Or that these ballots were somehow compromised. And so I think it's of grave public importance, and very happy that the judge ordered these documents to be unsealed so we can get to the bottom of it. Again, Fulton County has nothing to hide. We had three recounts, independent audit. You know, we're ready.
The Constitution obtained the body cam footage, and one of the things that they showed is that there was a lot of confusion by these FBI folks when they rolled up on Fulton County.
Yes. So, you know, when they first showed up, they had a warrant for the Election and Registrations Department, and they should have known that those documents were under the control of our Clerk of Superior Court because they filed a lawsuit against Shay Alexander, our Clerk of Superior Court. Department of Justice did, seeking the very same records. So they knew that she had them. I don't know why the warrant was made out for registration and elections, but they had to go back and get the warrant redone. And frankly, we should have filed this Rule 41G motion. It took us a week to file it. 7 days later, we really should have filed it that very same day, right? And in order to try to prevent the documents from leaving the facility, because now the chain of custody is broken, and with that chain of custody broken, we can no longer validate anything that they say. We can just go off of the results that we had from 2020, which, you know, again, were recounted 3 times, independent audit once, and no less than 10 lawsuits that all confirmed that Donald Trump lost the election in Fulton County and Georgia in 2000.
So what took long to file this response?
Well, our attorney was, you know, trying to dot the I's and cross the T's. I thought that it was going to get filed by that Friday, which would have been 2 days after the raid. And then she indicated that they needed over the weekend to file it, and it would be filed on Monday. And then it still took 2 more days. But I think they were compiling the affidavits and, again, just making sure that they dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. But it would have been great to just get a temporary motion in to stop or halt, because I think we could have gotten it halted and the records would not have left the facility, right? Because there should have been, even if, I don't know what Trump wants to prove, but even if it would have benefited him to maintain the chain of custody, right? That's the only way that anyone would be able to agree with anything that he says. But now that he's broken the chain of custody, there's no way for anyone to confirm or deny what has happened to those records since they left the Fulton County Registration and Elections building.
We will see if the Trump DOJ will comply with this judge's ruling tomorrow. They are known for ignoring federal judges.
Yes, well, so the judge indicated, I think they agreed that they would do it by 5 o'clock tomorrow, but the judge indicated that she wanted it done sooner than the close of business tomorrow. The judge indicated that he wanted it done sooner than the close of business tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get a copy of it, because that warrant, that affidavit that supported the search warrant is really crucial, right? We need to see what that says. We need to see what are the allegations. But these records were already under seal from a Fulton County Superior Court judge, Robert McBurney. He had already ordered that the records be sealed. And Georgia state law does not allow the sharing of this information, which is why the Department of Justice also sued Brad Raffensperger, Republican Brad Raffensperger. So they're trying to get these records any way they can, and we certainly are pushing back as much as we can, as loud as we can, because they should not have these records.
All right, Commissioner Arrington, we sure appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Roland. Have a great day.
Likewise. All right, folks, got to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Succession. We're hearing that word pop up a lot these days as our country continues to fracture and divide. But did you know that that idea, essentially a breaking up of the USA, has been part of the public debate since long before and long after the Civil War, right up to today? On our next show, you'll meet Richard Crichton. the author of this book, who says breaking up this great experiment called America might not be such a bad thing. That's on the next Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
Hey everybody, I'm T.D. Jakes, and I want to encourage you to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered. It'll blow your mind.
Students at 3 North Carolina universities, including North Carolina A&T, will not be voting on campus after a federal judge declined to facilitate efforts to establish early voting sites. U.S. District Judge William Osteen ruled in favor of the Republican-controlled election boards ahead of the state's upcoming primary. The College Democrats of North Carolina, along with several students from Western Carolina University, North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, and the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, filed a lawsuit after the election board failed to include campus sites in their early voting plans. They argued that excluding campus early voting locations makes it more difficult for younger voters and college students to participate in the elections, as they may have less reliable transportation, limited time, and reduced access to voting information compared to the general population. Judge Osteen stated that formally supporting efforts to open these sites so close to the voting date could lead to confusion. His ruling represents a significant policy decision by the State Board of Elections and by election boards across all 100 counties following a recent state law that shifted these boards from the Democratic governor to the Republican state auditor, which means that even though Democrats hold the governor's mansion, lieutenant governor's mansion, attorney general, secretary of state, in North Carolina, you have Republican majorities on the boards and not Democratic. Let's bring my panel right now. Dr. Omi Kongo Domingo, Senior Professor of Lecture, School of International Service at American University, joining us from D.C. Also author of the book, Lies About Black People. Glad to have him on the show. Representative Jelana Jones, Texas State Representative, also an attorney. And Thelma Lawyer Bay Anderson, author of Shut Up and Prosecute, joining us from Dallas. All right, glad to have all three of y'all here. This is the thing that I'm always spending lots of time trying to get people to understand the connection of the dots. And that is the issue there in North Carolina is that Republicans had a supermajority. They now, that has now been taken away, but they still are in control. Republicans control the Supreme Court there 5-2. Anita Earls is up for re-election this year. 3 of those Republican seats are up in 2028. This, to me, Jolanda, is where Democrats have to be playing the long game. You've got a U.S. Senate race this year. Last poll shows former Governor Roy Cooper, hugely popular, with a massive lead. But the focus in North Carolina really has to be on driving turnout, targeting critical state rep or state Senate races to lower that Republican power, but more importantly, lock and load to take over the Supreme Court in 2028. They previously had control of the Supreme Court. When Democrats controlled the Supreme Court, they ruled against racial gerrymandering, partisan gerrymandering. They literally stopped a lot of the craziness happening there with Republicans in the legislature. Again, this is where there has to be a laser-like focus to say, if we're going to change things like this and be able to have those early voting sites, you have to actually win political power, because we see what happens when the Republicans get it, how they will abuse that power and do things like this, removing voting locations off of extremely large college campuses.
So I agree with you, Roland. And again, I'm going to say this every time I'm on your show until the elections are over, that we've got to vote like our lives and our children's lives depend on it, because they do. And I think that when we are in office, we are far too nice and we want to do things with the high road. Sometimes you need to get in the gutter. But I'm not at all surprised that the courts sided with the Republicans, because Trump was masterful in stacking courts with people who follow him. So I know we talked about, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, we talked about the protests with the students and how dangerous it was. But the Republicans are going to do what they need to do to suppress our votes. So the only way for us to take power back and get fair rulings is for us to take over the State House, the U.S. House. We need to take over everything in North Carolina and everywhere, because it's just what we have to do. It's just that simple. So now the kids are going to have to figure it out. And they can't let this, I believe to be an unconstitutional ruling, like dissuade us. We just have got to fight through it. I've been black all my life.
Well, I'll say this.
And we've had to do that.
I'll say this, Ome Congo. I don't think the students have to figure it out. I think if you're Democrats in North Carolina, what you do is you say, all right, no problem. We're going to set up buses, vans, whatever. Here's the schedule, and we will drive you to the voting location. Look, I was there several years ago. It's about 2 miles. The early voting location is about 2 miles from North Carolina A&T's campus. To me, this is where you partner with churches or whatever and say, hey, we're going to have 2 to 3 vans available on the hour or every 30 minutes to take students from campus to the voting sites and back. So you say, okay, all right, y'all want to do that? Fine, we can circumvent that. We're going to create our own Uber service to drop voters off and take them and pick them up. That's what Democrats in North Carolina should be focused on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every time I hear these stories, we just always have to remind ourselves, and the kids who don't know the history, they have to learn it, is that we've always done more with less. I'm thinking about the Montgomery bus boycott. And so these are the types of things that we're going to have to do. Some of these companies out there that want to redeem themselves. I remember like Lyft was offering rides during the elections. Tell these companies, hey, do you want to partner with us if you believe in voting rights? Because so many of these companies are silent. The local organizations and the youth there, the students, they need to step up. And just like you're talking about how rides can be organized, people need to also organize to make sure that the IDs are in check. When going off of these first 2 stories that we just heard, they're like night and day, right? And it's a reminder of what Trump is doing as it relates to the courts. The elections have always been about the courts, and I'm happy that people are finally getting hip to it. Not us here in our audience, obviously, but many people are starting to see that. Trump is still appointing judges now. And federal judges that are being appointed, they are actually asking questions about whether they accept the 2020 results. And many of them are not answering the question directly. And they are still getting appointed, some with some Democrats. And I'm sure this is happening at smaller levels in the federal courts as well. So this is another example about how, one, we need to do exactly what you're saying in terms of starting the organizational infrastructure in place now so that there's no excuse to come November, but also a reminder of how much attention we need to pay to the courts in this country at every level. And as Yolanda was saying, voting like our lives depend on it. Our lives depend on making sure we have courts in place to protect our rights.
The thing for me, Thelma, again, is playing the long game, saying, okay, we see how y'all want to roll. And the numbers are the numbers. We're talking about thousands of students. And, you could be looking at between these campuses, if you do this, an additional 5, 6, 7, 8, 10,000 folks voting, yes, it would be more convenient on the campuses. Yes, they should be on the campuses. But this is where you have to say, fine, we're going to take this ruling, and what we're going to do is we're going to run folks, we're going to win power, and then we're going to change the rules back.
This is what I would call legal discrimination, because when you're looking at how he made his ruling, he didn't make it just on the basis of, oh yeah, I ain't gonna let y'all get this one in. He did it strictly to say, oh, it's too late in the game for this to happen. Why y'all waited so late? So he literally caught us with our pens down and played in our face to let us know, oh, y'all know how we roll. Y'all know we gonna deny this because it's too close to the election. So my thing is, we are harming ourselves when we are waiting to strike when it's cold instead of striking when it's hot. Because we should have known that this was going to be an issue to where we didn't have to wait until weeks before or days before early voting to start to have to go to beg for the mercy of an individual that was appointed by one of the Bushes to hold the key to allow our students on one of the largest HBCU campuses access to early voting on the proximity of where they are requesting. So my thing is, we should not give them access to deny us when we could have granted our own access by doing it when we knew we needed to do it. Not when we knew that, oh, now our life is on the line. We go and do it too late, because this is the result that we're going to continue to get.
Well, but this is what Republicans also do, Jolanda, and you see this in Texas. They know the deadlines, and they know how these federal judges rule. So they will wait to the last second to issue the ruling, knowing full well you have a limited amount of time to appeal the decision, and know the judges will say, just like the Supreme Court has a legal precedent, hey, we got to leave the maps in place. It's too late to make the changes because it's going to cause confusion. We've seen this way too many times to not see it coming a mile away.
So I was actually about to ask, what could we have done before, because they hadn't done the harm yet. The second they found out that the harm was done, if they didn't have polling locations, they immediately sprang into action. So what the Republicans do, which is their MO, is they wait until the last minute when they know timing will be prohibitive for us. So that's what they did. And Roland, what I was talking about when I say the students are going to have to figure out, what you said was a way to figure it out with the Ubers or Lyfts or community carpools, whatever it is. That's what I meant by they've got to figure it out. But what we can do, I mean, like here in Houston with removing Black women from the ballot, we knew they were going to do it. And I will tell you here, Republicans or actually these are Democrats attacking, white Democrats attacking Black Democrat women, filing stuff during the holidays when the courts are closed, when only an ancillary judge is there. And if you don't know who an ancillary judge is, you don't know how to reach them, and waiting till the very last minute to do things. So it's hard as Democrats to be able to do that. What we need to do, I think, just sort of generally as Democrats, and especially as Black people, because the Democrats don't always look out for us, is we have got to look years ahead, play chess, mobilize our voters, figure out plans in advance to get people to the polls, and do that. That way, even if the Republicans pull some stuff like they're doing right now, then we're better prepared. So I don't think that they wait until the last minute, because I know for a fact that they were out there protesting the second they found out that they didn't have polling locations on the HBCU campuses.
Well, we covered it. They actually were at the meeting where that took place. And according to Carolina Press, what the judge said is, the judge ruled the students had not proven a severe enough burden on students' right to vote on any of the campuses to justify changing the rules. Early voting starts February 12th, so that was the basis of it there. Again, here's the thing that and it's very, and again, when I talk about strategy, and I'm just going to use Virginia as an example, Congo. So Virginia Speaker, Don Scott, met with me, and he said, this was 2 years ago, we want to take control of we want to win the House. And they identified, we need to win X number of races to win the House. These are the races that we're targeting. These are the races where black voters are going to play a critical role for us to win. And he laid out and mapped it. I don't know if Democrats in North Carolina are actually doing that. Matter of fact, what we're going to do is we're going to reach out. And so, Carol, I want the North Carolina head. I want the head of the North Carolina State Democratic Party, and I want the Democratic House Minority Leader. I want both of them on the show, and I want them to answer that question. I want to know first of all, how many do they need, and then what are they targeting? To me, that's what you have to do. I'm tired of these general discussions. No, I keep saying over and over and over again, Congo, you have to have a micro strategy in order to win macro. You got to be able to tell people, hey, if we win, we need 4, we need 5, we need 7. I think in Texas, Republicans have a 14-seat lead, if I'm correct, in the House. I can't remember what that number is. But
no, 62-88.
Okay, so you got 16. So 62-88. I'm sorry, 26. But you got to be able to say, okay, fine. Here's a number. How many can we pick off in this cycle? And then what's the strategy? What does that district look like? What's the makeup of those voters? How many black voters? How many Latino voters? Whatever. To me, that's sort of how you have this targeted effort. I don't believe spending time and money in places you know you're not going to win. I believe you target your pickoff area, and I just wonder if that's what they do in North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm really wondering about that as well, and I'm very interested to see what happens, when those representatives get back to you after y'all reach out, because it'll be important for them to explain what's going on. One of my concerns is that coming off of, the major elections, that happened, this past November with the Democrats sweep in, and with some of these other small stories we're hearing in, Louisiana, Texas State House, and so on and so forth. I'm concerned that Democrats are going to start getting complacent, and I think that they're going to start, kind of feeling themselves, and I'm hoping that's not the case, and thinking, oh, and we got a popular candidate, who's running, in these races as well. Democrats are just going to turn out, and November is such a long time away that if the active strategies are not happening right now, they're going to be in for another surprise. And I think that one of the things that's important when you talk about the meeting that you had 2 years ago is that he was talking about, I don't want to take anything for granted. And that's why he met not just with anybody, but he met with somebody like you, somebody who knows the politics, who knows the history. You talk about Texas like it's the back of your hand, and you've seen all of this happen before. People like Representative Jones, who know these things. If they're not doing this in North Carolina, I do not believe that they are going to be successful. Yes, they have popular candidates, but it's still North Carolina at the end of the day. And when you see shenanigans like this that are happening, I'm concerned that there's other little things that they put in place. I was very bothered by what Representative Jones just said about how the white Democrats were the ones that were playing them down there. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I feel like those types of things, Republicans are better at this than anybody, even though Democrats can be shady as well. So people are not going to get on the good foot, hear these warnings right now, and not use a ruling like this as a message to say, we got to make sure every I is dotted and T is crossed. They can be in for a disappointing surprise in come this next midterm election.
There are 120 seats in the North Carolina House of Representatives. It's a 71-49 split. The thing for me is, again, I want to sit here and know what's the number. How are you targeting people? And I've said this numerous times. One of the issues that we see in statewide races is that there really is not a lot of attention paid to East North Carolina, and that's rich area of black voters. That, to me, has to be a target. Thelma?
I agree. And I also want to touch on the fact that this is a moment to empower these college students and showing them the value of voting, and knowing that even with a roadblocks didn't stop our ancestors. Roadblocks ain't stop some of the most powerful individuals in our legacy. So when you see this happening, this should also invoke an emotion that empowers these students, some of who are going to be voting for the first time, to know, yeah, y'all may have stopped us at this moment, but y'all not going to stop us, because we're going to go to the polls still. We're going to find a way, because we know that y'all don't want us to get there. And in doing that, and also with the other resources that you all talked about, this is a moment for them to be empowered like we were in college when we didn't have access to the Ubers, and we had access to the city bus sometimes in order to get to the polls, but we still made it. So they're seeing some of the history of how suppression actually looks like, and now it's time for us to empower them so that they can remember the power in their votes.
I will always maintain, where you have a lot of black votes, we are doing them a favor by not showing up. That simply cannot happen. Let me go to the break. When we come back, lots to talk about, including, oh my goodness, have white folk been losing their mind because a dude did the halftime show and he spoke Spanish. The orange MAGA tears could probably fill up an ocean. And I love it. We're going to talk about that. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. If you want to do so, use the Stripe QR code. That's full course right there. You see that for Cash App, for credit cards as well. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo RM Unfiltered. Zelle. Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Rhea Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
What's up? It's Talib Kweli. I'm CEO. This is the Black Star Network.
Student came out late last week saying that they were at Florida A&M, saying they were not allowed to use black on flyers of a program. Well, now FAMU the leadership is trying to set the record straight with regards to this. According to the report from Orlando's WKMG-TV News 6, Aaliyah Stewart, a final year student at the Florida A&M University College of Law, says she ran into repeated issues getting the flyers approved for the Black Law Student Association's Black History Month events. She told the reporter that words like black, affirmative action, and women were flagged and blocked because of Florida's anti-DEI law. As a result, she says her organization was pressured to shorten or remove language directly tied to Black History Month. President Marva B. Johnson, who was appointed to the board by Governor Rick DeSantis, she was a supporter of his, and the board chose her. This is what she said, quote, "As the state's only public historically Black university, the word Black is central to the mission and identity of Florida A&M University. We take seriously our responsibility to communicate clearly and consistently on matters of law, governance, and public accountability. The university unequivocally confirms that the use of the word Black or the phrase Black History Month does not violate the letter, spirit, or intent of Florida Senate Bill 266, Board of Governors Regulation 9.016, or any relevant federal guidance. FAMU is celebrating Black History Month with full support of the Governor, Board of Governors, and state elected bodies. These activities began on February 1st with the opening of a new exhibition at the Meek Eaton Black Archives Research Center and Museum on the main campus. Throughout the month, the university will continue to highlight and honor FAMU historical figures, culminating in our annual Harambe Festival on February 28th. The planned student organization activities in Orlando are a welcome and valued extension of FAMU's comprehensive recognition of the enduring contributions of Black history to our society. We will continue to support our students, faculty, and alumni in celebrating Black history in ways that are lawful, authentic, and aligned with the values that define Florida A&M University. Okay, Cecil Howard, the interim dean of Florida A&M's College of Law, released this. Dear FAMU College of Law community, I want to address directly a recent media segment involving our College of Law and to ensure you have the facts. Last week, News 6 Orlando reported that certain words, including the word Black, had been restricted on Black History Month promotional materials for one of our student organizations. Upon learning this, I immediately met with some of the students involved to provide clarification and to state unequivocally the word Black is not prohibited. No such restrictions exist, and none has been directed by university leadership. Once this matter came to the attention of FAMU President Marva Johnson, the university quickly engaged a Florida higher education law expert who unequivocally opined and confirmed that uses of the word Black or phrases Black History Month in no way violate the letter, spirit, or intent of Florida Senate Bill 266, Board of Governors Regulation 9.016, or relevant federal guidance. I fully concur with this expert legal opinion. There's nothing in Senate Bill 266 or Board of Governors Regulation 9.016 that prohibits the use of the word Black or the phrase Black History Month. These provisions address the expenditure of state and federal funds on programs that advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion as specifically defined. They do not prohibit the use of any word not Black, not women, not affirmative action. The regulation explicitly protects the speech and expressive activity of student-led organizations. The Black Law Student Association is precisely such an organization. What occurred was a staff-level error and an overly cautious interpretation that went beyond what the law requires. It has been corrected, and I take full responsibility for ensuring it does not happen again. The university has investigated this matter and will implement any required corrective measures to ensure consistent and continued compliance with all laws and regulations. To that end, I've taken the following steps. I've met with our law communications team to develop an enhanced review process for student organizational promotional materials, including a standardized escalation protocol and a secondary review mechanism to ensure greater clarity and consistency. Pending full implementation of this process, I will assume sole and final review and approval authority for all communications and event-related materials. As part of these efforts, we're aligning the College of Law's communications review processes and compliance protocols with main campus operations. We are one university, and our standards will be consistent across all colleges and units. Finally, I want to remind all students that if you believe any university policy is being misapplied, you have the right to raise your concerns through the university's established grievance process. That process exists to protect you, and I encourage you to use it whenever you believe it is warranted. Florida A&M University is the state's only public historically Black university. The word Black is central to our mission. Compliance with state law will never require us to erase our identity, and this administration will not allow it. Should you have any question or wish to discuss this matter further, please do not hesitate to contact me directly. Okay, so here's what I don't understand. Did the TV station call the university? Did the university respond? Who do they talk to? How was this story allowed to go viral by Florida A&M. And did Florida A&M offer any staff updates prior to this? How does when you say a low-level staffer, okay, they were trying to be cautious. Okay, based on what? So you have the president and the interim dean saying, oh, it doesn't violate law. Well, was that memo sent out prior to this? Was it sent out after that law was passed? Thelma, to me, those are basic questions.
I love a good chat GPT lie because that statement was definitely drawn up from chat GPT because it said a whole bunch of nothing. And it symbolized a response like Trump had when he wanted to say, oh, it was a staffer that posted that awful, deplorable meme. But you are now saying that because, my receipts, I just looked at my receipts. My receipts said that a junior level employee is the one that they are putting this on. So did y'all bring this junior level employee to the front so we can have a conversation with the junior level employee to figure out how did they get this information to feel comfortable to tell a student during Black History Month at an HBCU, at one of the largest HBCUs in this country, that they couldn't use Black? It would have to be abbreviated. And not to mention that the president is a hand-picked Trumper. She's not one of us. So it wouldn't surprise me that this was said to this young lady in the manner that it was supposed to be said, how they wanted to say it. They didn't anticipate that it was going to go viral and people were going to be up in arms and ready to stand on business as to why are you telling a Black student at a Black HBCU that they can't use the word Black, the color that they have to circle every time they got to identify themselves. And now you want to say, oh, whoops, it was a third level play. That's a third level lie.
Congo.
Yeah, that's real. That's real talk. Thelma, for real. And that was also what I thought of was Trump, blaming the low-level assistant and so on. We never hear any names. And I believe the student in this example, to be quite honest. And one of the challenges of a situation like this is that even if they issued a statement to say you could use Black everywhere, et cetera, the policies that Ron DeSantis has been implementing in Florida, they are designed to not be clear. They are designed to confuse people. So yeah, okay, Black made it through this battle, but what about somebody who wants to use a term like Pan-African, right? Or what if there's an LGBTQ group and they want to use a term in a flyer like, pansexual or something like that? People are self-discouraging themselves from even going forward because they feel they might get shot down. Then you have, at the next level, these so-called junior level employees who feel like certain language can't be used, so they're going to shoot down the student who's not sure. And this is happening in the colleges. It's happening in the corporate spaces. It's also happening in the schools, especially at the K-12 level, where you got the "Don't Say Gay" bills, and people feel like they might get a penalty if they have a picture up of their same-sex partner in their classrooms. The rules are designed this way. The laws are designed this way. So they can arbitrarily bring people up on charges or fire them or give them other types of fines. And that's part of the problem. And I guarantee you, Roland, that there are students across that campus who are out there trying to talk about other issues and promote other issues. And they've been told that they can't use certain terminology, and they probably went along with it. And this is the same thing that the Trump administration is doing as well. All this anti-Black stuff that he's doing, but then last year he'll have a Black History Month celebration and have like Tiger Woods there, and people are like, well, what's going on? And this is part of the confusion, and I'm so glad that student spoke up. I believe them, and I do believe that also that this is as Thelma said, a third level lie, a junior level lie, whatever that was. I was feeling that.
Jolanda?
So I agree to what was said before this, and this is what I know. With all these HBCUs in states that have Republican governors, they've literally put Trump people over these HBCUs. I absolutely believe that the president and the interim dean of the law school went along with it until it went viral, and then all of a sudden they're crawfishing back. I was listening to the statement, and I'm trying to fix my face because I always get in trouble for not fixing my face. When the interim dean of the law school, who's actually a lawyer, went to a law expert, which you're the dean of the school, so you should be, to be able to interpret something so simple. So I'll say this again. It is a third level, a junior level lie. They intended to get away with it, and they can't. But this is no different, Roland, than the censorship that they're doing with Black press. It's no different than the uproar they've made about Bad Bunny's halftime show. They want things to be a certain way, and if they can censor it before it happens, which is what they were trying to do with Bad Bunny, which is what they were trying to do with the Black law student, that's what they do, except for now, things are going viral. People are making a big deal about it. You're making a big deal about it. Don Lemon is making a big deal about it. Joy Reid is making a big deal about it. Moni Presley is making a big deal about it. And we can keep going on and on and on. And they are losing control of the narrative. So that's what this is about. Trying to censor everything that doesn't comport with what Trump wants. And we have to keep pushing back just like you're doing and talking about it to knock them on their heels. And then they're going to have to let things be as they are.
All right, folks. Hold tight 1 second. We come back. Ooh, Trump was a wee bit triggered when he was jammed by reporters after, he ran that racist video last week. And boy, he just lost his temper when they compared him to Joe Biden. Ooh, we got the video. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
I'm Brittany Noble, Midwest-born, HBCU educated with experience in newsrooms across the country. Well, I've teamed up with Roland Martin to bring to you The Breakdown. This isn't just news. It's our stories, our voice, our community. Join me for The Breakdown, Monday through Friday at midday, only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Swain Cash, Basketball Hall of Famer, and you're watching Black Star Network.
Oh, the twice impeached, criminally convicted convict-in-chief Donald Trump. Boy, he lost it when a reporter attempted to compare his excuse that a staffer posted the racist video image depicting President Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, as apes. And the reporter said that, well, wait a minute, you kept saying President Joe Biden was unaware of actions he took in his name, but what about you? Roll it.
You frequently criticize Joe Biden for not knowing what is going on in his name. This racist video that was posted on your social media.
I know a hell of a lot better than you do. You don't know what's going on. I know what's going on. No, Joe Biden didn't have a clue, but we know everything. And when you look at what's happening with our economy, and think of it, we're way years ahead of schedule. We have thousands and thousands of businesses being built right now. So Joe Biden had no clue. If Joe Biden were elected or if Kamala were elected, we wouldn't have a country right now.
You won the election because of minority voters. Does this post maybe hurt Republicans with, black voters after the...
I think, look, we did criminal justice reform. I did the historically black colleges and universities. I got them funded. Nobody has been, and that's why I got the highest vote with male black voters that they've seen in many, many decades. I've done great with them. Black voters have been great to me. I've been great to them. Black voters have been great to me. I've been great to them. And I am, by the way, the least racist president you've had in a long time, as far as I'm concerned. We have, I've had a great relationship. Think of what I've done. Criminal justice reform. Nobody else could do it. Obama couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. Clinton couldn't do it. They actually went the other way. They went into a very bad thing for African-American people, black people. They went to it. They did very bad things. I did very good things. But criminal justice reform, and then I funded the universities, which nobody else was willing to do. They were going every year. They'd come back to Washington and they'd be begging for money, begging. I got to be friendly with some of the heads of the schools, and they would come back and they would literally tell me they're forcing us to beg. I'm the one that got them long-term financing and more than they were looking for. So there's nobody that's done more. And I think maybe more than anything else was criminal justice reform. They've been trying to get it for years, and I'm the one that got it done. So nobody can tell me about that. That somebody posts a staffer, post, and I knew it was all about. If you take a look at that and see the whole thing, it was a small section at the very end, but that was about fraudulent elections, which we have a lot of them. We're going to get it stopped. And I liked the beginning. I saw it and just passed it on. And I guess probably nobody reviewed the end of it, because what I saw at the beginning was really, really strong. It was about fraudulent elections. And anytime I see that stuff, and when it's credible, you put it up. But somebody slipped and missed a very small part. Now, by the way, again, the takeoff one, I guess, I didn't do it, by the way. This was done by somebody else. This was a retruth. That was not done by us. But that was a very strong truth. It was a very strong statement made about the fraudulent elections in a certain part of our country, which are really bad.
Y'all, his ass just straight ass lying. I mean, just lie, 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 lie. It's all a lie. First of all, let me remind y'all, okay? Criminal justice reform, Democrats control the House. It was Hakeem Jeffries that pushed that through the House, and then when it went to the Senate, you had Democrats Dick Durbin, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, who said, oh, this bill is too weak. You even had Republican Chuck Grassley, head of the Senate Judiciary Committee, saying, bill got to get improved. That's how it got passed. What Donald Trump just said about HBCUs, flat out lie. Oh, I got long-term financing. No, he did not. Y'all, he didn't even know what the hell that bill was about. That bill was led by Congresswoman Alma Adams of North Carolina. Yep. She was the co-chair of the Congressional HBCU Caucus. Go to my iPad. Okay? This is where Trump is lying. What he's talking about is the Future Act. Okay? The Future Act first came under George W. Bush. It was renewed under Obama. Then it expired. So when he keeps talking about he got them long-term financing, no, that bill was about $250 million. $85 million of that went to HBCUs. That's it. That ain't long-term financing, y'all. He's just lying. He's lying. He didn't know jack about this bill. It was Congresswoman Alma Adams who drove the bill through. Those are just facts. So I'm like, bro, you can keep sitting here lying. Oh, by the way, $17 billion went to HBCUs under Biden-Harris. Trump can't even get close to that number. The fact of the matter is, he knew about the damn video. He knew about it, Jolanda. He's lying. And we all know what's going on here. Okay? He doesn't accept responsibility. He refused to apologize. Yes, he is a racist. That's what he is. And so, please, I mean, I'm trying to handle this crap. Again, and these right-wingers just love to kiss his ass, and including some of these silly Negroes who stand back him as well.
And so, first of all, what does bad elections have to do with what is it? It was based on, what's that movie with Mufasa? The Lion King, where he had himself be a king with very bad graphics, I might add. What does that have to do with, like, not truthful elections? So even his lie didn't make sense. He was wrong on the details of his lie. And who wants to take a president seriously who comes out on his social media things about the Lion King with people's faces superimposed on bodies? So nothing about it was serious, except for he was seriously racist and evil to Black people. And I don't know when we're going to accept, I guess, people generally, that he's racist. He just is. I think most of Black people understand that he's racist, but white folks continue to excuse his behavior and try to explain it away with jokes. And these jokes are not funny, even when they're doing that. So he's racist. I agree with you, Roland.
Congo.
You know, every week he gives people more fodder that we should be using to bring to these corporations, to bring to these organizations, all these places that have caved to this guy. Like, this is the guy you wanted to cancel your DEI program for, the guy who's putting out images of the Obamas as apes. Y'all are cool with that? You must be cool with it because you haven't made a statement about it. So we know we need to keep that pressure on because a racist is going to racist. And what we're doing in this country, unfortunately, is we treat Trump's actions like school shootings. Everybody gets uproar for, for a couple of days, thoughts and prayers and so on, and then people move on to the next story. So unlike, what we do here where we call it out regularly, folks across the country, oh my gosh, this is sad, this is messed up, Tim Scott, most racist thing I've ever seen. But then they make no demands and they go right back to business as usual. And that becomes part of the problem. The fact of the matter is that there's only like 3 people who have access to Trump's account, like him, Scavino, and Harp or something like that. This went out at like 11:45 p.m., similar to our last story. If this was a random person who put it out, who is it? Did they get fired? Was there anything? This is Trump. This is Trump who did it. They took it down like 12 hours later. And then you got people in the White House said, he's not racist. Didn't you see him standing side by side with Nicki Minaj and holding hands? Like this is what they're literally saying. And then they'll make up stories about how he does everything for Black people. And too many folks in these press outlets who are in front of him don't have enough knowledge to be able to say, well, Biden actually gave $17 billion. So I'm concerned that people are not going to be talking about this a week later, even by the end of this week or even midweek. But this is fodder that we can use to pressure more of the organizations and corporations and schools and people that support him to force them to call him out, or they suffer more consequences from us, similar to what's happened with Target.
Velma, here's what I thought was utterly hilarious on Friday. Now, the video was posted in the early hours on Friday. A lot of pressure, probably was shortly after noon, the video got taken down. But it was amazing to me how these scared Negroes waited late. So for instance, this Trump Black preacher, Kelvin Kobaris, he is the pastor of New Life Christian International Church in Plant City, Florida. This is who he is. Now, I said it was taken down shortly after noon. This fool drops this statement at 10 p.m. The post depicting former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as apes on Truth Social was despicable and disgusting. While a White House staffer was responsible for posting it, those of us in leadership understand we are ultimately accountable for the actions of our subordinates. Rather than joining the rage on social media, I addressed my concerns directly with the White House and encouraged the president to publicly denounce the post and work to heal and unite our community. #BridgeBuilder. Negro, you weighed in 10 hours later. And you likely ran your statement by the White House before releasing it. How you gonna call yourself a bridge builder and then it's like, oh, I encourage the president to publicly denounce the post? First of all, that video of Trump talking, hell, that was taken before his statement even went out. So, and Trump did not denounce the post, and he damn sure ain't working to heal and unite. But see, this is what happens again when you got these folk we can call the help. Then you also have that little MAGA Negro out of Detroit, Lorenzo Sewell. Everyone makes posts they regret. A little folly casts out much wisdom. But please don't think Black Americans who live in majority Black cities even know what Truth Social is. It is extremely disingenuous to suggest Americans care about Black people. Huh? Black Americans don't need anyone to care for us. We just need to learn how to care for ourselves. Lorenzo, Black people have already figured out how to care for ourselves. We're the second largest investors in our country, and we need a return on that investment. Really? Ask Ramon Action Jackson, my political minister. I don't even know what the hell that statement is. Tell me, go ahead.
Jackson.
Listen, you said one thing that absolutely makes sense about him when you say he weighed in, and he weighed in overweight. And that's the problem. You gave that overweight excuse to the most deplorable president of this time to allow him to be a racist? And then the audacity for you to say, oh, it's the staffer. You don't even know the damn staffer because it ain't no damn staffer. So now you're making up facts just like him. And it makes absolutely no sense for these Negroes to get on the internet, Beyonce's internet, with these lies as if they want us to buy in when they ain't the truth, even though if it's coming from Truth Social or not. And when he goes on about this criminal justice reform, like he's trying to appeal to the Black people because we know why criminal justice was set up to continue to enslave us, coming from a 34-count felon. He is a certified pedophile. He's trying to lock up Tish James for prosecuting him. He went after Marilyn Mosby. He also wants to go after Jack Smith because Jack Smith was like, we need to indict him, but the Biden administration failed. Then you go after James Comey because he revealed the plot and the plan and the scheme for Russia, even though he fucked us up too. Then you go after the freedom of press because you see Black media coming out and you see our voices, because when we put that sauce on it, people listen. And he was like, nah, I can't have that sauce because they getting too much traction. They telling too much truth. So you want to go and arrest them unlawfully, not to mention you got the most unqualified prosecutors that are around the DOJ stinking it up. And you talking about criminal justice reform, but you protecting pedophiles. You protecting everything in you from them Epstein files because you went around talking about the Haitians eating the dogs and the cats. But in them Epstein files, it's talking about y'all eating the babies and humans. So be very for real. He is doing this tailspin because he don't want us to know what's in these fucking Epstein files. And he's trying to figure out how to draw these Black people offside. And we ain't getting drawn offside because y'all ain't gonna put us in the business. We just want y'all to do what y'all gonna do. And if we have to show up, we gonna show up every time, but release them damn files.
Well, it is so hilarious to watch these folks who do lots of dancing. I got a couple of the videos that really caught my eye. One of them was country singer Brian Andrews. He's been extremely vocal about public policy and things along those lines. And he dropped this video where folks wanted him to apologize because of his critiques and criticisms of MAGA.
Oh, so this is going to be kind of hard for me to say, but there's just a couple things that I need to get off my chest because the guilt has just been weighing on me, so here it goes. There are days that I wish that I would have never started talking about politics in my music or my social media. There's just a lot of things that I didn't think all the way through before I started writing protest music or talking about all these issues online. For example, I didn't really think about what it might feel like to be reminded of how fucking fat I am in my comment section 100 different times a day, like it's something I didn't already know and haven't failed trying to fix about myself pretty much my entire adult life. I didn't really think all the way through about what it might cost me in terms of my career and opportunities, especially in country music, considering I'm still a pretty small artist. And I especially didn't think about all the people that I would lose and all the spaces that I would no longer be welcome in, even in my small hometown that I've lived in since I was 8 years old. And when I do think about those things now, it sometimes does make me wish that I would have just kept my mouth shut. But here's what I think about more. I think about how hard it would have been to be a 14-year-old boy and to walk into your mother's bedroom and find her laying there dead because she couldn't get access to the health care that she needed. I think about how hard it would have been to watch my wife be arrested outside of her court-appointed green card hearing, not knowing if, when, or where she would get to see our kids again. I think about how hard it would be to grieve the loss of a loved one who was killed in the street, knowing justice will probably never be served. And I especially think about how all of this could have been avoided if we, myself included, would have cared this much when the victims were Black and brown. And that is what I'm apologizing for. At the end of the day, you can call me a radical leftist fat ass, you could cancel me in country music, or you could walk out of my life like you never even knew me, and I will never apologize for any of it. Because you doing that in response to any one of the issues that I've mentioned in this video says a whole lot more about you than it ever will me. But the one thing that I will apologize for, the only regret that I have, is that I did not speak up sooner, and I will never make that mistake again, which is why I make this music. So to all my haters, I just got one more question for you.
Are we great yet? Are we great yet?
I wonder why they didn't have him at the Turning Point USA rally yesterday. All right, folks, Chuck Baldwin, the pastor of Liberty Fellowship in Montana, preached about the divine litmus test. And let's just say this white preacher has something to say to Donald Trump and all of these white evangelicals like Franklin Graham who kiss his ass.
None of us is perfect. Real Christians understand these things. They are given to forgiveness and understanding because we all know that Jesus was forgiving and understanding toward us. That's not what we're talking about with Donald Trump. That's not it at all. Donald Trump is a lifelong gangster. He's a lifelong Zionist. He is a lifelong philanderer. He's a lifelong cheat. He's a lifelong hedonist. He's a lifelong felon. He's a lifelong blackmailer. He's a lifelong bully. He's a lifelong malignant narcissist. And he's a lifelong sexual predator. And since he's been president, he has now joined the ranks of international war criminals and mass murderers. If you have taken the time to look at even some of the newly released, I'll call them e-files, you know what I'm talking about. If you have taken the time to look at even some of the newly released e-files, you know that Donald J. Trump, along with the rest of the rich and famous predators in those files, should spend the rest of his life in prison. And even if he did, that would not balance the scales of justice owed by this degenerate monster. And yet, knowing all of this, there are still thousands of pastors and Christians who continue to give Trump their undying support. From a moral, ethical, legal, and spiritual perspective, how can these pastors and Christians not be party to Trump's corruption? By supporting him, lauding him, defending him, excusing him, they are party to his criminality.
Wow. That's the way, come on, guys, come on, listen, you saw, that was some heat there. That was some heat there.
That was good.
Goodness gracious. Man, that was like straight up ether, man. I mean, look, and the fact of the matter is, people talk about, it's a church, you're not supposed to say political things. He's not making a political statement in terms of, hey, go vote Democrat, vote Republican. He's talking about the teachings of the Bible and how this particular person who they're supporting is contrary to everything the Bible is supposed to be about. I don't see that as a political statement in any way, shape, or form. And furthermore, and this is, I don't know when he made this statement, but I'm assuming he said it was over the weekend. So that means it was after his comments at the National Prayer Breakfast as well, which was hateful, which was divisive, which, went at so many different communities and the like. These white evangelicals, they've gotten so much out of Trump. He was their avatar. Quite honestly, at the end of the day, as long as he gives them what they want, They don't care. They'll allow him to do anything. As Julian Bond said, they are cafeteria Christians. They pick the part of the Bible that is relevant to them in a particular moment, and outside of that, they are just straight hypocrites. And for the life of, and I'm so glad that there were applause in the background, because for the life of me, I can't understand why people who honestly love the Bible and who are honestly about Christianity and honestly know the word cannot call him out, not even in a political way, but in a way to make him better as it relates to following what he says he believes in. That's all this man did, and more preachers should be doing the same, especially from the white religious community.
Absolutely, Thelma. White preachers should be calling his ass out.
Listen, do we not remember this is the same president that was on Air Force One talking about he know he going to hell? So if he know he going to hell, why y'all keep trying to save him to make him look like he is a Christian? The man know who he is, and he has told y'all and shown y'all in so many different ways, and y'all still up here trying to Christianize a man that is telling you he going to hell. Like, I'm trying to find the white people who can justify based on the commandments. The commandments. Tell me what commandments in the Bible that he's following. Can't know if you tell me the truth, then you gonna stay here. But if you lie like you've been doing, you gonna go with him. They ain't gonna do it. They gonna get up there and stutter because they know this man is evil. And for this white pastor and so many other that have come to the front to call it out, they shouldn't be targeted. They are, but they shouldn't be targeted because it's about damn time that these fake ass Christians get called out. We know what y'all doing after hours. Hell, we know what y'all doing when y'all wake up. But y'all gonna continue to try to make us see what this man has already shown us and what he has told us in his own words. He ain't a Christian. So stop trying to make him look like one.
They do embarrass themselves, Jolanda, and it's a whole bunch of them Trump ass-kissing white evangelicals in Texas.
Oh, for sure, Roland. But look, there's been sort of a running joke, at least in my hood, that some of the biggest devils are in church, all right? Like they out partying Saturday night, and they getting up Sunday morning playing pretend. So let's not sit up here and believe like we don't know that some of the biggest crooks in town are pastors, priests, call them whatever you want. So what I will say is this: I'm very thankful that we have a white ally, right? Because whenever we call him out, the first thing they want to say is we racist, we pull in a race card. So we do need more help from white evangelicals to speak. We need allies like him. And the truth is, he didn't sound like a black pastor. He wasn't as eloquent as some black pastors. But the truth is, he spoke truth to power. And he covered every freaking base. And sometimes it's really hard when you have bullies controlling things to stand up to them. So I'm very encouraged by him. And I think you said he was in Montana. Wyoming, one of them places up there where ain't no black people. So, you know I ain't lying.
Hey.
And so I'm thankful for him. But the truth is, we need to stop acting like pastors and priests and whatever they call themselves are less sinners than us, are going to heaven, because most of them aren't. And most of them use their priest collars or whatever it is you call them to be able to do the dirty. And they cover it with, remnants of Christianity. So kudos to him. I will listen to him, and I hope white folks listening to him. And let me be clear. He white, but we got some black ones who act the same way.
Oh, yeah, and that's why I mentioned the two of them, Lorenzo Sewell and Kelvin Cobaris. Sure did. All right, y'all, let me go to a break. We come back. Ooh, these white folk have been losing their mind because Bad Bunny sang in Spanish. I'm trying to figure out why y'all upset. Boy, who was sitting here breathing fire today? That's right, that white nationalist Megyn Kelly. Boy, these folk cracked me up. We're going to talk about that next right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered, on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Succession. We're hearing that word pop up a lot these days as our country continues to fracture and divide. But did you know that that idea, essentially a breaking up of the USA, has been part of the public debate since long before and long after the Civil War, right up to today? On our next show, you'll meet Richard Crichton, the author of this book, who says breaking up this great experiment called America might not be such a bad thing. That's on the next Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
How you doing? I'm Mark Curry, and you're watching the Black Star Network. That's why I got these glasses on, because that black star is bright.
All right, y'all. White America, the white conservative America, they've been losing their mind because Bad Bunny stormed into the Super Bowl halftime yesterday and gave us a cultural vibe that broke down and expanded the notion of the America to the Americas. Of course, Apple Music halftime show featured him singing in Spanish, did not sing a single word in English. It featured a number of entertainers who were there, who were watching it all. Of course, Lady Gaga sang, Ricky Martin sang. I mean, my goodness, he pays homage to the sugarcane history of Puerto Rico. And then again, it made it clear that the Americas is not just the United States. And at the end, he named all of the countries as well. And so it was an incredible performance. I absolutely enjoyed it. Now, of course, while that was happening, Crazy Deranged MAGA was having their Turning Point USA so-called All-American halftime show. Wasn't even live. We now realize it was taped on Friday. They had 200 people in the room trying to make it seem like it was jam-packed. They couldn't even pack 1,000 people into that joint. It was a joke. Kid Rock was lip-syncing. It was absolutely awful and abysmal. And then they're just feeling themselves by saying, oh, my God, 6 million, 7 million, 10 million watched, where early estimates say that 135 million people watched the halftime show. 127 million watched the game. That means that if that holds up, it will be the largest viewed halftime in history. But boy, these folks have been crashing out. They have been losing their mind. They were going crazy. Donald Trump lost his mind tweeting. Posted on Truth Social. But then they showed video from Mar-a-Lago, and they actually had Bad Bunny's halftime up and not the folks over at Turning Point USA. I was cracking up laughing. I love to see these people just lose their mind because they couldn't handle all that color. Oh, Lord, right there, they were just losing it. Oh, they were just losing it. Just losing it. And so I thought it was lovely. But what it goes to show you, and then I told you, my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. And this is a perfect example. The crashing out. Now, if y'all want to see who is the lead cheerleader for white nationalist MAGA, it has to be that troll Megyn Kelly. So she was on Piers Morgan today, and she was just losing. Oh, my God, this was just awful. This is destroying America. Y'all want to see a deranged white woman? Here you go.
To get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish. This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latinos, not for one small group, but for the country. We don't need a black national anthem. We don't need a Spanish-speaking, non-English performer, and we don't need an ICE or America hater featured as our primetime entertainment.
Okay, what is the national language, officially the national language of the United States of America?
English. And there's been a push for many years to make it an official,
you don't have one.
Documented thing.
You don't have one.
If you would have let me finish my comment, I would have pointed that out, that people have been pushing to make it official.
Okay,
All right,
so
now let me
you're
tell
trying
you
to make
something.
official.
This attitude that
Yeah,
you have right here is why you in Great Britain have lost your culture. You ceded your culture to a bunch of radical Muslims who came in and took over, and now it's gone. We're not allowing that here. Whether it's Hispanic, whether it's Muslim, it's not happening in the United States of America. That's why President Trump was elected. And whether it's Bad Bunny, who is American but refuses to speak English in his performances, or anybody else, we have to keep the Super Bowl, which is a quintessential American event. Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American football. And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American. Not Spanish, not Muslim, not anything other than good old-fashioned American apple pie. There should be a meatloaf, maybe some fried chicken, and an English-speaking performer. That's what the Super Bowl should be.
Oye, esto es solo para los rumberos. Voy siempre con mi guitarra, entonando acordes de celebración. La rumba me está llamando y hay que contestarle con sabor.
So that is Fiesta Pelos Rumberos by Al Beecher. That's from the Vanessa Williams movie Dance With Me. Y'all, and I post on Instagram. Y'all, it's so many songs I got on my phone. I don't know what the hell they saying. Matter of fact, Kendrick was last year. I ain't know what the hell half of stuff he was saying. And he was speaking English. So, like, y'all, come on. I mean, these white folks crack me up. And so they can't stand the damn, lift their voice and sing. And so they were mad at Coco Jones. And so now they mad about this. And all they do is just wonk, wonk, wonk. And the NFL, like, they so stupid because the NFL is like, yo, we trying to go international. We trying to get paid. And that's all this is. But these folk are crashing out. And it's like Megan's sitting here, like, we don't give a damn. And let me be real clear. I'm just being just straight up, no holds barred. Megan, we don't give a fuck what you think. Like, not one. She can kiss my ass. Matt Walsh can kiss my ass. All them damn white supremacists who been cracking up can kiss my ass. Matter of fact, this one dude got mad, this one bar, he changed all the TV to the Turning Point USA, and the dude was like, I ain't come here for that. He's like, we don't want to hear that. He's like, but y'all serve tacos and margaritas. I mean, this is how dumb these people are. This is how dumb these people are. And I just sit here and go, really? Like, really? Again, Omi Congo, I have not seen these white folks this mad since Obama wore that tan suit.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right historically.
Right.
And yeah, they were just raging like fire breathing, raging. And it's interesting, you know, because there's video up there of them watching the halftime show at Mar-a-Lago, you know, Lindsey Graham all up in the picture and stuff. And how all of these guys who said they weren't going to watch it because they were going to watch the real American halftime show, how they know that all of this happened if they didn't watch it themselves? So you know they were watching it, even if they didn't watch it live, they watched it later because they had enough to say. And when it comes to this whole thing about, you know, Spanish, she's like Hispanic, Muslim, like just run down the things, whether religion, whether it's language. Okay, you want to talk about, oh, he's speaking in Spanish. You ever go to an opera, Megyn Kelly? You ain't seen got no problem with them singing in Italian, right? So it's just like, how you going to pick and choose here? But when it comes to Bad Bunny and this halftime show, one of the things that made me realize, and you just hinted at it, Roland, about the NFL going international, they have showed that America is actually in decline. Because you have the #1 artist in the world, who obviously is Puerto Rican, who is American, but he does not perform in the United States because of his fear of what ICE will do to his fans. So he doesn't even come here. He's the #1 artist. The NFL is playing 8 games this year overseas. So if she's talking about American football, we created it, they're looking at possibly having expansion teams overseas. So they're just like with NBA, just like with MLB. So people are moving on from America. And so while you want to embrace whiteness and keep declining, he had a performance that showed what unity is about. People are like, oh, it wasn't political. Everything about that show was political, and it was beautiful, from the diversity, just run down the list. We've been talking about it. And so he represented the America we want to see. He represented the promise of America. He put Puerto Rico on his back, and that is what they are so pissed off about. But at the same time, like you said, we don't care what they think, because we're going for it. Because like he said, you know, we are America, and we're not going to let them have it.
If you are one of the people, and this includes some of y'all black people who sound like them white evangelicals, these white conservatives who was just losing it over this on yesterday. This from me, from my heart, deep in my soul, this is what I want to say to y'all.
Kiss my entire ass.
Jolanda.
So, Roy, you would call him it, man. Who can go after Del Reese? But that's not the point. Here's the deal, Roland. First of all, they were all watching it. America is so stuck on capitalism. Why y'all ain't mad that they made a whole bunch of money last night? And, yeah, y'all were watching. And I also heard that they were paying actors to go in there to watch the Kid Rock show. That was pre-filmed. But let me say this, Roland. My ex-husband was Colombian. And we think, and I didn't realize how American football is not the most popular sport around the world. When I was with my ex, and I was married in 91, with my ex, the World Cup, people kill people. You know, the highest paid athletes are soccer players. So not American football. And at the end of the day, the NFL wants to make money. And there are a lot of Latino people that want to pay to watch sports. And what I thought was brilliant about Bad Bunny was that he got people who normally didn't watch football to watch it. My stepson, who is Colombian, was watching the game with us last night. English is not his first language. And when I saw them, like, I didn't know Puerto Rican history like I do today after listening to everybody's commentary, but I saw how it affected my stepson. He was so happy to see his culture at a major sports event. And I saw babies. We had so many people from so many different cultures, and I'd never seen that before. Normally you watch the Super Bowl, it's a whole bunch of black people. And so it absolutely was unifying. It had also showed me, if I didn't know before, how similar Puerto Ricans are to Black Americans, and the colonialism and what they take from us, and the symbolism of the light-colored Puerto Rican flag and not the one where they tried to make it look American. So not only was it entertaining, not only did they make a whole bunch of money, not only was it the largest halftime show, not only was it the most viewed Super Bowl, which is what America's all about, capitalism, but it also was able to speak truth to power and tell us about culture and history of America that we all needed to learn. We needed to learn it. We needed to learn it. So thank you, Bad Bunny.
But Lawyer Bay, Thelma, the reality is this here. They don't want these other white folk to know about history. They don't want that. They want them to remain clueless.
Listen, there is never going to be a time where Megyn Kelly can tell me any damn thing, because the shit that just come out of her mouth just lets me know it's polluted. What we saw last night was American. It was so American because our culture, we have so many different cultures that allow this country to be as great as it is. If this country did not have minorities, we wouldn't have the rich history. It was time for the Latinas to have their moment at the Super Bowl with Bad Bunny, regardless of, I didn't know what he was saying, but I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, get it, bad buddy. Like, I was like, you better be talking shit about Trump. That's what I kept saying. I was like, I know he talking shit because it sounds like, because the way that I know he talking shit. But I was like, I was so proud to be an American, to see this, to witness this, because we integrate these cultures, whether in the food that we eat or in the places that we travel. So why can't we see it on the big screen? And it always takes a Black person to move the needle. You have Jay-Z coming in and diversifying the Super Bowl. Then you have a Black choreographer who created his whole show. Her name is Charm LaDonna. She did Kendrick's show last year. So if we can't have a diverse culture coming in to create these stories that need to be told so we can feel it and be seen, then we're gonna have a bunch of fucking pale, whitewashed, whack-ass entertainment. They done came over here on stolen land. They not even supposed to fucking be here. So by virtue, they are the ones that should be getting deported illegally. So I don't give a damn how these MAGA people feel. What happened last night, what we saw, needed to be seen, needed to be witnessed, needed to be on our screens, and we need more of that.
Listen, I dance to Shinsia and a lot of Jamaican artists. I don't know what they saying. I dance to soca. I might be salsa. It's a whole bunch of Afro beats. I ain't got no clue what they saying, but it's still a vibe. Yo, I posted on Instagram. Hey, man, Carlos Santana got some songs. I don't know what the hell they saying, but we jamming. So I'm just sitting there trying to understand. I'm like, y'all sitting here tripping. I just think it's stupid. So the white meltdown is hilarious. And I'm going to say it again. Ain't shit y'all can do about it. Y'all can sit here and run your ass and have your little kid rock Clanchella. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to. But guess what? We ain't going. I keep trying. Listen, the basis of our book, I said it. The numbers are not turning back. Y'all could try to sit here and hold on all y'all can. And again, and there's some Negroes out there mad as well. This is not right. This is an American event. Man, go sit your ass down. They didn't want us in the game anyway. Okay? So remember, last year, they bitched about Kendrick. It was too black. It was awful. It was rap. Now, hold up. Last year, you had all kind of flag waving going on. Sam Jackson was dressed up like Uncle Sam. See, it's going to be something else. And so, listen, I thought it was fire. I loved it. And if you didn't like it, we don't care. We really don't care. We don't care at all. So, whatever. Y'all just keep running your mouths. It don't matter. Going to a break, we come back. Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
My name is Bill Duke, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, time for Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble.
An Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department officer is now under internal review after a viral dash cam video appeared to show him threatening to kill a 17-year-old driver during a traffic stop. His mom told the Indianapolis Star that it happened as her son was leaving an anti-ICE protest near Warren Central High School. Officers pulled him over, saying his car smelled of marijuana. And at one point, the officer can be heard saying, "I will effing kill you. Do you understand me?" IMPD acknowledged the language used in the video does not reflect the standards or values of the police force. And Arkansas State University officials say they are investigating reports of hateful and deeply inappropriate behavior on the campus in Jonesboro. One report alleges a resident assistant called a student a nigger. Another showed a picture of a student at a fraternity with a racial slur and a swastika written on their back. In a statement, Chancellor Todd Shields said this type of behavior has no place at Arkansas State. It is not consistent with our institutional values and the standards we uphold as an academic community. Shields is urging anyone who has witnessed or experienced behavior to report it. And the Trump administration says its immigration crackdown targets dangerous criminals. But Department of Homeland Security data tells a different story. Nearly 40% of those arrested by ICE in Trump's first year back in office had no criminal record, facing only civil immigration violations like overstaying a visa. ICE labeled about 229,000 people as criminal aliens, but only 153,000 arrests were administrative immigrants with no criminal history, and only 11,000 were for new criminal allegations. The Louisville Metro Police Department cited the use of license plate readers in 177 criminal citations last year, with about half issued to Black people. That's according to a Kentucky Center for Investigative Reporting review of public police records. LMPD currently operates nearly 200 license plate readers, with roughly 100 more awaiting installation. Louisville police say the flock cameras are an effective crime-fighting tool, but in 2023, the U.S. Department of Justice issued a scathing evaluation of LMPD, finding the department had a history of discriminating against Black people. The Louisville Urban League president said that the findings show racial disparities in flock-related citations raise more questions and certainly significant concerns. The Super Bowl marked the end of the NFL season. For the second time in 4 years, nearly 1/3 of teams entered the offseason with head coach vacancies. Despite roughly 70% of NFL players being Black, no Black head coaches were hired during this hiring cycle. So far, 9 of the 10 available positions have been filled, with the Las Vegas Raiders expected to finalize a deal now that the Super Bowl is over. But currently, there are only 3 Black head coaches in the NFL: Todd Bowles of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, D'Amico Ryans of the Houston Texans, and Aaron Glenn of the New York Jets. This number is just one more than in 2002, the season before the league instituted the Rooney Rule. This rule requires teams to conduct in-person interviews with at least 2 external head coaching candidates who are minorities or women. Roland.
Well, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett continues to blast Republicans, challenging them for the political double standards shaping national policy and calling out their selective outrage from Republican leadership. Check this out.
A report describing the impact of prohibiting a person whose sex is male from participating in an amateur meaning not necessarily little kids on the playground. Okay, want to be clear. Amateur athletic competition that is designated for females, women, or girls, or the participation of females, women, or girls in that amateur athletic competition. So are we talking about a report? So I still, listen, now, maybe it's because the clerk didn't read the whole thing, and that's not her fault. She was told that was fine. I don't understand why and where my colleagues are going on everything else, and now they want to be the protectors of girls and women. I didn't hear them screaming this when Renee Good was killed in the middle of the street in Minneapolis. I didn't hear any protection for Renee Good, a U.S. citizen that was killed by the same people that the vast majority of you just voted to give more money to. I didn't hear the same thing. In fact, it was a lot of crickets, specifically including the women, as we were just lectured about what we need to do as women when it came down to the Epstein files. I heard crickets. In fact, we could not get any signatures onto that discharge petition to the extent that we shut down the entire House, and there was no business that was conducted in this entire country on behalf of our constituents. But let me be clear, the Republicans are going to protect girls and women, because that's what this is all about. It's not about the report, because the amendment says it's about a report. Like, miss me on being protectors. Just say that this is what you believe, this is what you're doing. But don't come at us and tell us as women what we should be okay with, what we shouldn't be okay with, because it's just kind of like the same thing where I should be telling a lot of women on the other side of the aisle, I don't know how it is that you are not protecting women as they need protections over their own bodies to make their own decisions.
The gentleman to yield for a question.
I will yield for a question.
Well, thank you, Ms. Crockett, for those trenchant remarks. You know, our friend and colleague from New Jersey started by saying, what do most Americans think of as wrong? So he wants to ground people's approach to this bill on moral intuition. Well, what do you think the moral intuition of Americans is today about shooting Americans in the face for exercising their First Amendment rights, or stripping them of their lawful gun and then shooting them 10 times? You think the vast majority of Americans reject that?
Oh, I know they do.
You think that's why Donald Trump says he's going to de-escalate and they're trying to get out of Minneapolis because the whole country rejects the bloody, violent authoritarianism on display there?
Oh, absolutely.
Against women and girls and men and boys?
Yeah, and I can also remind my colleagues that feel so deeply about the children, the same children that they don't want to have $6 a day to eat and SNAP benefits, but I know that they care so deeply about children because as myself and Joaquin Castro traveled to the Dilley facility in Texas, where they had kidnapped a 5-year-old out of Minneapolis and took him, I don't remember any of my Republican colleagues going to check on the people and the children, maybe don't talk about their parents, but the children that are currently incarcerated. You know, after we left Dilley, I made it clear that as someone who has practiced criminal defense, I have been in actual prisons, I have been in jails. This was the first time that I've been in a facility that doesn't even offer educational opportunities. So you're snatching kids away from their schools sometimes. I do have a bill if y'all care about schools and care about the hospitals and care about the churches. I have a bill for that if y'all want to, sign up. But nevertheless, these children are being kidnapped and then they are being thrown into a place that now has a measles outbreak. They are not being given adequate care whatsoever, and the children don't even have access to education. In this country, even somebody who is a convicted felon can go and get a degree. And these kids, their education has been stunted because this administration, with the complicity of each of you on that side who refuse to acknowledge what is wrong, because I agree, some things shouldn't be right or left, they should be right or wrong. So if we want to talk about the amendment, because I think you don't want a report because the reports will reveal what most of y'all don't want to actually admit, which is that when it comes down to trans people in sports on the collegiate level, we have 10 in this country. Y'all want to sit up here and write bills as it relates to literally 10 collegiate athletes. That's all we have that are trans. Yet we have hundreds of people, thousands of people that are being incarcerated every single day, and we are subjecting our communities to abuse and being terrorized. But no, let's focus on the 10 trans kids.
Well, now, that was a little fiery. Let's talk about the United States Senate race. Jelana's alma mater, University of Houston, dropped a new poll today. that shows that Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett leading Texas State Representative James Tallarico 47-39. Go to my iPad. If you look at the overall numbers here, Crockett 47, Tallarico 39, unsure 12. Among women, Crockett is leading Tallarico by 11 with 11 points, with unsure 15. Among men, Crockett is up Tallarico by 6. Among white voters, Tallarico is leading Crockett by 17 points. 53-34. Among Latinos, Crockett is up by 9. Among African-American voters, 71-13. Broken down by generation, silent boomer, Crockett is up 2, 44-42 with 13% unsure. Gen X, she's up 3 with 18% unsure. Millennials, she's up 16 with 7% unsure. Among those with a high school education, Crockett is leading Tallarico by 25 points. 2-year some college, she's leading him by 26 points. At 4-year advanced degree, Tallarico is leading Crockett by 11 points. Broken down by partisanship among Democrats, 47-39. Among Independent and Republican, 48-31. Of course, the early voting is starting in another week. There in Texas, February 17th, if I'm correct. The primary is March 3rd. This has been quite interesting, Jolanda. It's been because there's been so much conversation back and forth among a lot of white progressives who have been, in their feelings about this race. In fact, I responded to somebody like this was interesting here, and this is somebody who is from Kentucky. And they've got Kamala Harris in their little Twitter bio. It says the Democratic establishment cannot allow Crockett to ruin our chances of winning a Senate majority. The data is clear. Tallarico is the better candidate and our best shot at winning. Big names need to start endorsing. And I just respond to the person by saying, how is the data clear? And what data are you seeing in Kentucky? See, that's what is so interesting here, Jolanda, is, and I've talked about this before, you got all these white progressives who are not even in the state, who don't even vote, who know nothing about Texas, weighing in. And here's the other thing. Senator Chuck Schumer, they're not counting on Texas to win them the Senate majority. Republicans have a 53-47 lead. Democrats are looking at holding Georgia, holding Michigan, winning North Carolina, upsetting Susan Collins in Maine, Sherrod Brown winning in Ohio, and then an upset in Iowa or winning the seat in Alaska. That's the pathway they see to a 51 majority, not Texas.
The problem with white Democrats, Roland, quite frankly, is they don't try to get black people out to vote. They take us for granted and they ignore us. That's how it is here in Texas. It's sad, even though black people are the most reliable voters for Democrats.
And the largest group of eligible black voters in America, they're in Texas.
Right, absolutely. And so I hadn't found any pollsters really here that know how to poll black people anyway, because somebody called us, somebody texting us, asking us questions. We ain't about to tell y'all what we gonna do. That's just not about to happen, right? They're always wrong. They always under-calculate what we're going to do. Same when they said President Obama wasn't going to win a second term. And so that is the epic failure of the National Party. And then they wonder why because the National Democratic Party has ignored Texas and has ignored black people, then it would make sense that Trump would target Texas to redistrict and set the standard for around the country and target black voters. So the only people who don't realize how important black people are to the Democratic Party, especially in taking Texas, is white Democrats nationally and in Texas.
Mm-hmm. So Thelma, here's the thing, and which is also part of this deal. The way the white Democratic strategists get paid is they'll tell a candidate to dump as much money into TV. I saw this story earlier where folks were questioning Congresswoman Crockett's campaign, talking about how Tallarico's outspending her on television. Texas is a huge state. Well, here's the whole deal. The consultants get paid by the TV and radio buys. That's how they make their millions. What they hate to do is to put the money on the ground. They hate to put the money in GOTV because they don't get paid that way.
And listen, the one thing that James allowed, he allowed them to get him off of his position of where he knew he was going to run, then get him to flip. I don't know what they offered him on the background, but they played in his fucking face. They played in his face because they wanted him to believe that he was going to come over into this particular race and run it. That's not what's happening, because that's not what the people want. The people see the lack of authenticity, and when they see that you are going so heavy in these rotations of these ads and the moves that you are making that are misguided, they see right through you. And to know that this particular consultant that he allowed to trick him out of his spot, I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy, because you knew what the plot was. You knew what the plan. And whatever price they put on you and you allowed your integrity to be bought, you're going to deserve everything that comes from this, regardless of whatever poll that you may or may not believe, whatever, how much you are spending. Like, for the life of me, these Democrats, especially this particular one, why would you let these people talk you out of your position?
The thing that trips me out, the thing that trips me out here, which is hilarious, Congo, is, and I went back and pulled it. Since Lloyd Bentsen won in 1988, there's never been a primary that was uncontested. And this is what I've always said. I've always said this here, that because initially Tallarico jumped into the race. Former Congressman Collar Allred jumped into the Senate race. When Crockett announced, Allred dropped out, and then he ran for for a congressional seat. And so these folks were just up in arms. And I was sitting there going, why y'all mad? If y'all believe that Tallarico is the best candidate, win the primary. If you believe that Crockett is the best candidate, beat Tallarico in the primary. That's the whole point about elections. Everybody has a right to run, and if you think you're the best candidate, you win. Like this person is sitting here, polls are not perfect but clear. Cornyn beats Crockett 48-43. Paxton beats Crockett 48-45. Meanwhile, Cornyn beats Tallarico 45. Okay, this is how stupid this person is. She tells me that Tallarico by the data is the best candidate. So this person hits me and says, Cornyn beats Crockett 48-43. That's 5 points. Paxton beats Crockett 48-45. That's 3 points. Meanwhile, Cornyn beats Tallarico 45-41. That's 4 points. Paxton beats Tallarico 45-43. So you're telling me that Tallarico can win, but according to what you posted, he's losing, just like Crockett is. And also, a poll in February is not the same as a poll in October. I'm confused.
It's crazy. It's crazy. What's frustrating about this is that people are treating this race like it was Obama running against Hillary, and people telling Obama, it's not your time, wait your turn. They're like, well, what are you talking about? Jasmine Crockett, she's older, she has a larger national profile, and people acting like Tallarico's a chosen one. Why? Because he was on like Joe Rogan and he said you should run for president? I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and they continually try to tell us to stay in our place. And Representative Crockett is not about that in any way, shape, or form. And for those who are chiming in from the national level, who clearly don't understand Texas politics like you and Representative Jones do, people need to do more shutting up and more listening. And look, The Hillary-Trump election of 2016, that should have been the last time that anybody listened to a poll seriously. I mean, the polls are, measures in time. You can take relevant information that can help you going forward with your campaign, but to look at them in such a way that this person should drop out, this person doesn't have a chance, that's absolutely ridiculous. And like you said, we're talking February, and this race is months away. And so, look, both of these individuals, we can talk about our issues with one or the other, or talk about how great they are. They are doing their thing. They are out there campaigning. Whoever wins, I'm sure they're going to endorse the other. And this is not like you said, there's always been a primary. So let the primaries happen. And I feel like people are trying to foment some type of, hip hop style beef to watch these guys tear each other down, because that's what people are used to seeing in politics. And both of them are at least, are smart enough to realize that that's not the moment that they need to be in right now. So I respect them both. And anybody who's saying that Crockett doesn't belong in this race, they have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
No, it's ridiculous to actually listen to these people. And it's just all the back and forth is just dumb to me, and I don't think it makes any sense. And so, listen, at the end of the day, you have to win. Again, and a poll means nothing. Let me be perfectly clear. A poll absolutely means nothing. The only poll that matters is the one on Election Day. All right, folks, we're always transparent about what happens here at Roland Martin Unfiltered. I want to bring you up to date on something. So y'all might remember back in July 2022, that horrible accident when our driver, Deshaun Smith, was leaving Essence. This took place in Alabama. This was the result of our sprinter. It was completely total. There was this driver who was playing road games who jumped in front of him, and it completely totaled our sprinter. And so what then happened is we needed a new vehicle. And I then began to communicate with a black-owned company, someone I knew from Dallas. Her name is Windsor Barbie. The company was called Sterling Luxury Auto. And so we were talking about building a new sprinter. And so we sent her company $174,000 for a new sprinter. Y'all might remember when her office opened in Kansas City. Go ahead and roll a video. I traveled there, and I was there, and I visited the place, and this was the shop that was there. They were working on all of these other vehicles, and they had a big old, ribbon cutting, and preacher was praying. And while we were there, this is a photo. Right, that's the ribbon cutting there, and all the different workers. And this was the photo. This is the photo you see right here. I'm showing right now my iPad. This was with the Mercedes team, and I took a photo with them, and I sat down with them, and we went over the whole deal. Because what I wanted was, of course, for us to, when we spend our money supporting black-owned companies, and so that's what this was. And so then, we were talking about a vehicle being delivered, and then so she hit me up and said in June 2023 that a vehicle was done and was being transported to us, being driven here. And then said that there was an accident in Ohio where there was somebody had hit it, and then she got with the Mercedes team. They did not want to send me a repaired vehicle, wanted to send a new vehicle. Well, at that time we started talking, and I really began to reassess the Sprinter. Do we need a bigger vehicle? This is the vehicle that we ended up getting. This vehicle right here, you see it right here. And so we got this from a company out of Pennsylvania. But what then began to happen is, so we began to work on that, and so I started getting updates from her saying what was being built, and this was what's going on. We're starting work in January of 2024, and then I was like, hey, we need this vehicle because we're going to be on the road doing stuff, covering the Kamala Harris campaign. And so as we got into April and May and June, I'm like, hey, what's going on? Then I started asking for photos. I said, hey, I need to see something. What's the status of what's going on? And I felt I was getting the runaround. And I kept asking. And finally, in September, I finally said, listen, I'm flying to Kansas City. I want to meet with the company. I want to sit down with them because I was asking for photos and you're telling me you saw the vehicle, but you can't send me photos and videos. And I'm like, okay, something is not right. So I fly to Kansas City. I get the runaround. Told this company it's 40 miles from the airport. In fact, they were about 90 miles from the airport. So I literally go out. To this place in Missouri. And it was like, okay, I'm meeting. Then Windsor Barbie sends me a photo saying, oh, that the company, that they had a fire at their office. And so they were going to meet me at the home of individuals. And so they were driving the vehicle there. Okay, got it. Uber drops me off there. And I'm literally standing out there for an hour. Never showed up. They never showed up. And I said, listen, I want my money back. And we got a series of runarounds, this and this, and talking to the insurance company. I was dealing with white racists there. I'm trying to I'm dealing with, and so from September 24 through November, all I got were excuses as to where's our money? Where's our money? And finally, we had to file a lawsuit. Against her and her company, and we did so. We got, in November, we got a default judgment. We never could serve her. And we got a default judgment for $555,000, $555,200, plus $13,020 in attorney's fees. This here is the notice of default judgment that we got from the state of Texas. And I made it clear, and again, it was just lie after lie after lie. I have all the text messages, and it was just, I'm working on this, working on that. Hey, I'm going through the insurance company. Okay, great. You're going through the insurance company. Okay, send me the name of the insurance company, send me the claim number, send me the contact person. Never happened. My CFO, it never happened. Now, Windsor Barbie, I knew her from there. She's worked many political campaigns. In fact, when I gave the MLK speech in Dallas, she was there at the event with her daughter. And so the problem I have is, again, we wanted to work with a black-owned company. And this company screwed us. Now, let me be real clear. I made it clear to folks that if we work with black-owned companies, we work with others. Well, there was nobody else we could find to get a vehicle. So we got our new vehicle. Everything is well. And you know what they did? They were giving me updates. And then when they were building it, I was getting photos every single week, showing me the progress. That never happened. And so I made it clear to Windsor, you screwed black people. Black people donated to this show and gave them money. You screwed over black people for $174,100. And now we have this default judgment of $555,000. And I made it clear to her I was going to do this story publicly. And my deal is you need to repay us. And again, I got the emails and text messages going to get done. But I wanted y'all to understand why it took so long. We did not get our replacement vehicle until May of 2025. The accident was in July of 2022. And that's because we got the runaround from Windsor Barbie and Sterling Luxury from December 2022 all the way through May 2000. As a matter of fact, I got the runaround up through September 2025. I did not want to file a lawsuit. The lawsuit cost me money to file the suit, so I lost $174,100 saying to her, plus I lost money getting with a lawyer, but it needed to be on the record, and I'm being perfectly clear to Windsor and anyone associated with her. We are going to go after our money. We're going to recoup our money. And I made it perfectly clear. So I just wanted to give y'all an update of that. I waited, my lawyer, I waited for the default judgment to be final. The default judgment was final in December. I sent her an email saying we were going to do this, never responded, never replied at all. And so when you do business right. And I even told her, be upfront honest with me. Tell me what happened. It was always a bunch of lies, and that's all it was. And again, I have all the text messages, you name it. And so folk just wanted to understand, and again, this is who she is right here. This is who she is. And we sat there, and I went there, and all this sort of stuff. We were excited about doing this here. And this is what is so crazy. She got calls from people after we ran the video on the show of the opening. People were reaching out saying they wanted to get vehicles because we were associated with. Could have made a whole bunch of money selling other vehicles if you had done business right. Again, the judgment's for $555,200. It's official, state of Texas. This is the seal. Like I said, this is the actual judgment that was filed right there in Dallas County, and so you can see it right here. And so we gonna always be upfront when we talk about how money is being spent. Listen, I get paid speeches and I get for my books and stuff like that. That's separate money. But when it comes to this show, I'm gonna sit here and protect the resources that we're given to do the work that we do. So just letting y'all know about that. All right, final story we'll talk about today. Well, not today. Yesterday was actually the 100th anniversary of the baddest high school in the country, Jack Yates High School. Jolanda knows it quite well, even though she didn't go to Yates. It still drives her crazy. She did not go to Yates. She, of course, Jack Yates has been in her district. She's been on the city council, school board there in the state capitol as well. Historic high school alumni. Of course, I'm a graduate, 87, but Debbie Allen, her sister, Felicia Rashad, and so many others. When you talk about historic high schools, this was the preeminent black high school. And so, like my parents, they lived, by the ship. My mom did by the Ship Channel. She went there. My aunt went there. My dad actually graduated from Yates as well. And so they were on today at the Houston City Council with a proclamation for the 100th anniversary. Officially, it was yesterday. Again, and I'll dare say this here, it's a lot of black schools out there, and it's a lot of black high schools. But it's something different about JY. I have traveled this country and run into Jack Yates graduates, and they will let you know that they are JY graduates. Jolanda, I dare say, there's no other high school in Houston that has the type of alumni as JY.
And even as a state rep, the Jack Yates High School is in my district. George Floyd went to Jack Yates, in case y'all don't know. But yeah, Jack Yates is where prominent black people went to school. They have history, athletics. They have Dexter Manley, who played for the Washington Redskins. I could go on and on and on and on and go. I think Roper went to A&M, which is where you went.
John Roper, he was at Yates. He was at Yates when I was there. He went to Texas A&M.
Right.
And so I had to put this on. So this is I played baseball at Yates. Also, I was in School of Communications. And so just so some of y'all, if y'all think I was not clear as to what I was gonna do, this is literally what I was called by the students when I was there. This was my nickname when I was there.
But Roland, you got to say, you helped us reopen the School of Communications at Jack Yates. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. You helped us getting equipment there. You came back. And if you want to be on radio or television and entertainment, you need to go to Jack Yates High School. Yes. JY. So any case, Roland has done a lot. He's never abandoned JY, even though he moved out of Houston and moved somewhere else, but he's always there. I know I've had the opportunity when I was on the school board to present Roland with an award for helping JY remain JY. So.
Well, as a matter of fact, I was just texting the principal over the weekend because I still believe that there's more that the HISD can do. Superintendent Mike Miles, and so I got his number. He'll be hearing from me as well because Jack Yates should be the preeminent communications institution. We're now living in a completely different world, a digital world, and there are things that should be done there. And also because I, several years ago I established a scholarship there as well. So we award 3 to 4 scholarships every year of students there. And one of the things, Delma Congo, that a lot of times when we talk about graduates helping schools, most folks, it's their university. And I just simply felt, and I still believe, that we need to be having a presence at our high schools, because we can actually impact the future students. Sure, it's easy to say, fine, I'm gonna give a scholarship to a student at Texas A&M. That ain't gonna happen with them crazy-ass right-wingers controlling everything, so that's not gonna happen. But again, when we look at many of our historically black high schools, those students need graduates to come back and then stand with them and help them matriculate wherever they're trying to go.
It is so important. It is so important. When I do my speeches in different parts of the country, I talk to people about going back to their elementary schools, their middle schools, but that high school part is so important because it's really giving people, they're about to leave this, some school districts, they're walk around the corner from K to 12. They're about to possibly leave their town, leave their state, and maybe even feel like they don't have the ability to do so. So to see people who came there, one of the things that Jay-Z said about, his community going up in Marcy Projects, he was like, if anyone became like a doctor or a lawyer, I never knew because they never came back. So all I saw was people who was on the block. And so when you talk about our high schools, people need to be able to show kids the possibilities as they expand. I mean, they're going into adulthood now, right? 17, 18, 19 years old. And so the work that you're doing and the fact that they were calling you Mr. TV, I mean, that really shows them what is possible because they see what you're doing now. So you're absolutely right. We can't forget our high schools. We can't forget the middle schools, elementary schools, and we can't all give financially, but we can all give our time and we can give our influence and we can give that inspiration that they may not be seeing in their local communities. And you're living it right there, right here and now. It's awesome. Congrats to Jack Yates High School on 100 years.
Family, you're there in Dallas. And those little Dallas folk, they always jealous. They always jealous, because they think Oak Cliff and Carter and Lincoln and all this sort of stuff. And I remember when I started radio in Dallas, it was KKDA radio. They used to talk all this trash about Dallas Carter because, that 88 Carter team, which is a good team, but it wasn't an 85 Yates team. And so the Carter people always talking trash. And I got to remind them, I say, y'all thought y'all were great, but remember, Yates never had to give any championships back. Y'all can't say that.
Oh, shoot. Damn.
I'm petty. I'm petty.
Have that because the one thing that I agree with is the legacy and the enrichment of what some would only have, which is high school. And the one thing that I'm gonna ask you is why hasn't it been declared a historical site yet? Because it's been there.
Well, you have So here's what you have. So the original campus actually was torn down. But it's on the same land. And again, that was even crazy because there was alumni across the country, and they were like, "What are you? No, we can't have that." And I was like, "Y'all, the building got to get torn down because listen. Also, it was." The student population was much larger when I was there. Then that population really went down. It may have gone down about 700. And so now it's been fluctuating up, moving back up 1,000. And listen, one of the things that Jelana knows this very well is that there are a number of students who are zoned to Yates, but HISD has open enrollment. You can actually go to other schools in the district. A lot of folks did not want to go to Yates because of the academics. And so there have been a lot of changes there when it comes to curriculum. There's a maritime program that's there, School of Communications. There are other programs that they're simply adding. But the thing that I still believe, which is, the reality is everything that I do in terms of media, the foundation was there. That's why the colors on this show match my high school colors. That was done on purpose. Anthony, you should be switching. Come on, no, come on. No, not that. No, behind me. The show colors ain't over there. Thank you. That's the show colors right there. And so that was done on purpose. And so what I fundamentally believe that if we create career education, I get reading, science, math, all this sort of stuff. But I believe that if you create a career curriculum in high school, you are giving students a leg up. And I can just tell you, when I went to Texas A&M, I walked in way ahead of seniors at Texas A&M. I was killing them in the classroom. The reality is from a communications journalism standpoint, Texas A&M was a step down from where I was in high school.
Wow.
Roland, if you'll remember, remember we had you cover the Super Bowl in Houston from Yates.
Yeah, so what I wanted to do when I was at TV1, I did my show from there. And so again, what I have been trying to get, and I've met with several superintendents, what I've been trying to get these educators to understand is that this is what I do. So don't tell, I remember we had a meeting and they gave me this whole plan, and I'll spit through that plan in about 90 seconds. And I just start ripping it apart. And then the superintendent, what was it, Saavedra? Was that his name? Superintendent, he literally goes, why don't we put this plan aside and hear what Mr. Martin has to say? I was like, that's a good idea. And so the problem that I have with academics is that they are coming to this from an academic standpoint, whereas I believe you need actual professionals come back in the classroom to help craft your curriculum as to where the industry is today and where it's moving forward. And so we hope to do that with Yates. We hope to do that. And again, like I say, I'm in contact with the principal, and I made it in others, and I said, listen, I got no problem hitting a superintendent, because before this principal, when Tiffany Guillory was there, the brother who was superintendent was playing games and they were going to fire her. And y'all might remember, I went down there and I spoke before the school board and I said, I'm going to tell y'all right now, you fire her, I'm pulling my scholarship, I want my money back. I said, and I'm going to do my show from outside of this building at every single one of your board meetings. I'm going to be on y'all ass every time. They went back in that back room. They went back in that back room and voted not to fire her. But I needed them to understand I wasn't playing. But again, I just believe that we can't wait for students to go to college. You'll say, well, what's your decision? We have to be creating opportunities in high school, not just Yates, all high schools that are career driven, because a lot of people simply aren't going to four-year institutions. And so that's one of the things I'm committed to do. Like I say, my parents are graduates of Yates, so am I. My aunt is a graduate as well, and so many others. And so definitely want to congratulate JY on 100 years, and we want to see another 100 more. But this is where, again, I need African Americans who are successful in their fields to be as concerned about their high schools as they are about their universities.
Yes.
That's right.
All right, folks, that's it. Jolanda, Thelma, Omikongo, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much for being on today's panel. Okay, I was supposed to go to Arlington, Texas tomorrow. The Bow Collective is honoring me on Wednesday, but I'm actually going to fly out Wednesday morning. Because I've got some other stuff to do, so I'll be back in studio tomorrow. But I'll be in Arlington, Texas on Wednesday, Los Angeles on Thursday. And also, beginning on Wednesday, our team is going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina with Bishop William Barber, covering the protests that they're having there. Their Wilson to Raleigh Moral March that is taking place. We're going to be live every single day. The march begins at 9 a.m. It then, of course, ends at 2 p.m. each day. We will be streaming the march live. We'll have live updates on the breakdown with Brittany Noble at noon Eastern, as well as right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. And so we're going to have this thing completely covered and look forward to that. And so it's a lot going on that we're working on, and it's really about, again, keeping you informed. Y'all have heard me say this 1,000 times. There's nobody else out there in Black-owned media doing what we're doing. I'm talking about this daily news show that we have here, the second daily news show with the breakdown with Brittany Noble, our new health show, our other weekly shows. Nobody else is doing that. This is about news and information. We don't spend any time on any of our shows dealing with gossip. Hey, guess what? We did the Bad Bunny story. That was a news story. I don't care about Cardi B and Stephon Diggs breaking up. Don't care. Don't care. Y'all want that news? Go follow somebody else. And that's fine with me. Go follow entertainment. But I just fundamentally believe that we have to have a news and information network committed to the issues that matter to our people, that center us and put us first, and that's what we do here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. So your support is critical. I'm telling y'all, it's $195,000 a year, a month. to what we do. All of these shows, get a shot of the office. You tell me, this is a 5,800 square foot studio. We just added all new robotic cameras in here. We just did more than $250,000 audio upgrade. Trust me, a lot of y'all was sitting here upset with audio on the show. So was I, and so we did that. We are sitting here looking at how we're going to be covering things on the ground across the country. And so it's a lot of stuff that we are trying to do. This is the election year. What's happening in different states around the country. We want to be on top of that. And so your support is critical. If you want to support us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. Remember, we're trying to get 20,000 fans on average to contribute $50. If you can't do $50, we understand. If it's $1, $5, $10, $25, that's great. If it's more than that, that's great as well. Every dollar is appreciated. But Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. Click the Cash App Pay button to contribute. You can also, of course, use that for credit cards. Checks and money order. Make it payable to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Of course, PayPal is R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Then, of course, get our Black Star Network swag. Shop Black Star Network. You can zoom that out, guys. Get our T-shirts. Get our wall art, mugs, you name it, all that sort of stuff. Be sure to get it. ShopBlackStarNetwork.com. Then you have all of these Black-owned products you see as well right here. That all those different companies are Black-owned companies. When you support those companies, when you buy those goods, then you also support this show as well. And so please do so. And don't forget to download the app. Of course, fan base. Be sure to download that. All right, folks, that is it for us. Again, shout out to all my JY people. Look forward to being back home in Houston. And again, thanks a bunch. Y'all keep supporting the work that we do, because I'm trying to tell y'all, hey, mainstream media ain't doing it. They're not saying what needs to be said. And so we're going to keep doing what we do. And so that's how we do it right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla!